Hey y'all, I am back and I'm literally I just put up my clothes. I was watching this word that my best friend I gave 9 months ago, and it was talking about restoration, right? And the Lord's always given her the number 127, and this one was 127. I'll be at your door, I think is what it was called. But as I'm laying here, because I was just laying here listening to it, and I'm so sorry for the tears, but just having a moment. And I know God has literally been telling me, like, He's been showing me restoration so much. But in my mind, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, restoration for who? Because what? But it's not even like in regards to who, like restoration can look like a lot in everybody's lives. But in my life, it can be, it's the car, it's being, it's marriage, it's everything that I have lost, everything that I have given up. He will restore that, right? And this might seem so silly to people, to some people, but the Lord will ever so often, like, He'll have, this is such a sore moment for me, like, this is such a sore subject, and it sucks that it's even about this, but like, y'all know that I had to move, right, from Texas to California. I've already talked about this. I had to do that. I had to give up my car. I had to give up my babies, my dogs. There was a lot that I had given up, right? Friends, I've lost friendships, and I've lost I've lost so much. But I believe I'm paraphrasing this, but in the word, I'm just reminded of that verse where it says, now I'm going to have to look it up because I don't want to do it. Hold on. I can't see, so let me put my glasses on. Oh. But it's talking about losing your life and keeping it, or something to that nature. Hold on, now I have to look it up. And I'm typing with one hand. Lord, help me. Lose your life. Verse. Matthew. And I'm in Matthew. Actually, I was in Matthew. Let me bookmark this because Matthew 10:39, and I was already there. Bear with me, guys. Matthew 10:39. Where are you? I'll just start at verse 37. If you love your father or mother more than me, you are not worthy of being mine. Or if you love your son or daughter more than me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you will find it. So I was just reminded of that verse as I was talking about everything that either I've lost or I've had to give up. And sometimes the Lord will, like, my dogs are in my dreams every so often. I still call them my dogs, even though I don't have them anymore, because to me, like, they're still mine in my heart. And he will have them in my dreams ever so often. And out of all the days, to me, and this could just not even be nothing, but as I'm watching this word, I was thinking about the dream that I had last night. And it was both of them in my dream. Please forgive me, guys. And this is such a sore subject for me because I know they're only dogs. I get that. Like, I understand that. But all I could think about was like, oh my gosh. Never mind. Anyways, in the dream, I dreamt about both of them. And I remember like seeing Chloe and Ariel, right? They were both in it. But I remember like seeing Chloe and I was like, I don't remember what I said, but I remember her being in it. And then Ariel was like she was like getting her paws, like her paws were like on my mouth, like almost like hugging my mouth, if that makes sense. I don't know. But I don't know, that just came back to my remembrance. And I've always prayed to God, and I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but I've always told him like that would be a whole blessing in itself, or even like a whole miracle in itself, if he restored me back to them. And I'm just like, Lord, that would be amazing, right? Like, that would be so awesome. But if not, it's totally okay. But I'm just like, Lord, I pray that either my husband is gonna have a dog or we can get a dog, because I would love to have another dog in my life. And oh my gosh, this is so silly. Like, I'm crying so heavily right now because I do miss my girls. Like, of course I miss them. Anyways, I'm really getting on to share because now I am understanding what the Lord is talking about as far as restoration. And he's also just talking about, because whenever you restore something, I happened to look this up the other day because when I was in my Uber, there was something that had came up. I don't know if I saw something on a truck, or I don't know what it was, but I was like, I just felt led to look up the word restore. And one of the definitions would be bring back a previous right, practice, custom, or situation, reinstate, right? Or return someone or something to a formal condition, place, or position. That could be another definition of restoration, restoring something. And it can look like so many different things, and whatever God is like told you that he's going to restore it, right? But I'm personally just thinking like, he's going to restore my car. He's going to restore me with someone who is ordained by him, and someone who is going to cover me, and someone's going to love me with the love of the Lord and pour into me and treat me correctly. And it may not be perfect, but God's going to be in the midst. My finances, my whatever. There's so many different things that God is like, that I know he's going to restore. But I don't know. I was just having a moment right now, and I'm just like, I was thinking about my dogs and the dream that the Lord gave me, and I was like, that would be a whole miracle in itself. I'm not saying it's going to happen now, or if it will happen. That was just something that I was just personally thinking about myself, and just, I know God knows. I know he knows I would love to be restored back to them. But it could just be another whole dog in itself, like in the future. No, I'm not saying right now. Preferably like when I'm married, we'll have animals. But I just wanted to get on and share that with somebody, because whatever it is that you've given up or that you've lost, God will restore that thing. And I don't know what that thing could be for you. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be your job, it could be your finances, it could be, I don't know what it could be. It could be so many different things. And I'm such a baby right now. Oh my gosh. I had so much joy earlier sitting over there in the corner, and then I'm over here in my bed and I'm just like bawling my eyes out. But I feel like I might go for a walk. There's no sun outside today. It's completely cloudy, and I think it would be a good day to just go for a walk, and I'd probably go sit by the water at the rec center. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. And of course, I think I'm sure there's more verses that come to like restoration, but that always just reminds me of Job. And I literally just opened up to Job right now. Job 42. I cannot make this up. And at the end, it talks about how God gives him, look. And I was literally Job, but I literally just opened up to that right now. I don't have a bookmark. I don't have, so, where we're gonna start. I think I might just start at verse 7, 42:7, which is crazy because my best friend was coming out of Job 42. Anyways, after the Lord had finished speaking, and y'all know what happened to Job, right? Like, Job was tested in so many ways. His wife was like, why don't you just curse God because you're going through all these things? His friends were like, you must have done something in order for all this to happen. Like, what sin do you have hidden in your heart that all this is happening? That doesn't mean that we have any sin in our heart at all. It just, God is allowing things to happen because he wants us to have faith in him and trust in him regardless of what we're going through, and he will bless us in the future, in our latter days, double, right? That's what he did with Job, and I'm about to read that. But calm down, Angie. After the Lord had finished speaking to Job, he said to Eliphaz the Temanite, I am angry with you and your two friends, for you have not spoken accurately about me, as my servant Job has. So take 7 bulls and 7 rams and go to my servant Job and offer a burnt offering for yourselves. My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer on your behalf. I will not treat you as you deserve, for you have not spoken accurately about me. This is God, as my servant Job has. So Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, I might have said that wrong, did as the Lord commanded them. And the Lord accepted Job's prayer. When Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes. In fact, the Lord gave him twice as much as before. Then all of his brothers, sisters, and former friends came and feasted with him in his home, and they consoled him and comforted him because of all the trials the Lord had brought against him. And he withstood all of those trials. That's not in the word, I'm just saying that. And each of them brought him a gift of money and a gold ring. So the Lord blessed Job in the second half of his life even more than the beginning. For now he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 teams of oxen, and 1,000 female donkeys. He also gave Job 7 more sons and 3 more daughters. He named his first daughter Jemiah, the second Keziah, and the third Karen Hupuch. In all the land, no women were as lovely as the daughters of Job, and their father put them into his will. And I'm so sorry, guys. And their father put them into his will along with their brothers. Job lived 140 years after that, living to see 4 generations of his children and grandchildren. Then he died, an old man who had lived a long, full life. I just read Job 42, 7 through 16. And God, like, he lost his children, and God doubled up on that, on his oxen and his camels and donkeys and all the things. But whatever that looks like for you, like whatever you have lost, whatever you have given up, like, God is going to restore that. I don't know what that is for you. You know what you and God are talking about. You should know what God is talking about. But I just thought I would share that because I know my restoration is coming. Like, I know it is. God's already restored me back into, this is a bigger, to me, it's a better apartment versus the one that I was living in before. And I know that he's restoring, like, different friendships too. So that is already happening. And I know that I'm going to have a car soon. I know that I'm going to have a husband. Prayerfully, I'll have a child. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, God is a God of restoration, y'all. I was bawling, as y'all can tell, my eyes out, because I'm like, talking about restoration, talking about restoring things, and then, giving up my 2 dogs. Like, that was something that I gave up. And sometimes you have to give up things because that just was not in the works for me at that season of my life. And if I was obedient, it probably wouldn't have happened. But here in my own mind and my own thinking, I was thinking, okay, well, it's going to work out, because I believe God told me to give the babies to Ronnie, but Ronnie was like, no, I can't take them. I can't take them. Who was I going to give my dogs to? So that was the only person that I knew that would, and I thought that she loved them. I guess she didn't love them that much, because she would have been like, okay, that's fine. Regardless of what my mom says, I'll take them. But, everything works out. God knew I was going to be disobedient, even though he told me. I remember clear as day, I heard him so loud in my heart, you cannot take those dogs with you. You can't. They're not going with you. And I refused to hear that. I was like, I don't want to hear that right now. And I remember, like, him, like, I'm like, okay, Lord, if this is really you telling me this, you just show me dogs. And I remember going to the park, and everywhere I turned, there was dogs. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was brokenhearted. I really, really was. But God knew, even though he told me that, he knew I was going to take them. He knew it. And, everything happened for a reason. And, all things work together for those who love the Lord and walk according to God's purpose. And I believe, like, God's always reiterating how I will be rewarded. I will be rewarded. And you're going to be rewarded, not just me, because it can get a little rough. Like, we're just like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore, Lord. And it's just like, but God, he's a father who loves us so dearly. He loves us in a way that nobody can comprehend. I can't even comprehend how much he loves me. And he loves you just as much. He doesn't love anybody less. He doesn't love anybody more. He doesn't have favorites. But I don't know, guys. I just wanted to share that. And I didn't expect to bawl my eyes out like that, just thinking about my dogs and how they were in the dream. And just, it was Ariel, really. Like, I can't explain the way that her claws were just kind of like, I don't know, I can't even describe it, but it felt so good to, because God knows I love them. You know, God knows I still miss them. So if I can't see them now, of course, He shows me in my dreams. I'm not saying He's gonna restore them to me. That would be amazing, and that would be a whole miracle in itself because they're in California. You know, but it's not just about dogs, guys. This is not just about dogs. I hope that you're not just thinking this is about dogs. It's not. It's about anything that you have lost. Anything. Anything. I'm not saying just dogs particularly. I'm just saying that was something that was on my heart as I was watching that word. But then I'm like, okay, my apartment, my car, my finances, my friends, family, like I pray that there's going to be restoration in that, because I barely even talk to my family. And I do reach out to them and I'll just say, hey, how are you doing? But I just, like, I don't talk to them like on a daily basis like that, like I should. And I want to be able to talk to them in a way where we can be cordial. Is that even a word? Because I feel like every time there's a death in the family, that's when I have to go and, visit. And I don't want that to be the case. Speaking of, I need to text my brother. Yeah, because I had a dream about him last night. So I need to text him. But there is a verse that is on the TV right now, and it's James 1:5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. And wisdom is something that I will ask God for every single day. Like, I want that wisdom that only He can give. But I pray that this makes sense, guys. But I do want to, there's like these little prayers that I have in the bottom of my Bible, and I'm using my new Courage for Life Bible. And it reads, Abba, Father, sometimes I cannot see past my pain. Help me to fix my eyes on you, the one whose presence, power, and promises can truly see me through. And then I actually am going to read the observe that it has down here. And the interpret, actually. So the observe reads, Job's reactions throughout his ordeal were normal. He did not act as though he were unaffected by his trials. Neither did he pretend they could never get him down. Job reacted in a natural human way. He raged, protested, moaned, and vacillated between confidence and despair. But he never gave up. Job knew that his answer would be found in God. God judged Job positively from start to finish. The NT, that's the New Testament, that's what they're referring to, has the same opinion of Job, using him an example of endurance to be imitated. Like runners in a race, we need to persist in our obedience of God, consistently relying on His presence, power, and promises to see us through. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who perfects our faith. Hebrews 12:1 and 2. This was just another confirmation, because in this word that my sister was giving, like, it was talking about confirming and how God was confirming and confirming and confirming so many different things. And she came out of the book of Job. And all I could think about when it comes to restoration is the book of Job. And I didn't have nothing bookmarked in the book of Job at all. And I'm just flipping through my Bible, and that was the first thing I opened up to. So to me, this is confirmation. But I pray that this will help somebody. I pray this blesses somebody. Forgive me for the tears and the snot or whatever it was. But I just cannot, like, I have to, not have to, But I just don't want you guys to think that I am always like, I'm up and down. Y'all saw I was literally over there in the corner with so much joy. And then I'm over here an hour later crying and bawling my eyes out. So I want you guys to see that I be going through it too. I feel like David just right there. Like I have so much joy. And then like an hour later, I'm like bawling my eyes out. But I wanted you guys to witness that because like that's going to help somebody. And I need to get ready. I'm going to look at the forecast because with this weather, we just don't know. But it is very cloudy right now. And I would hate to get caught up in the rain. So I'm going to check the forecast. I believe it's going to rain today. Don't know what time. But I pray this made sense, guys. I really, 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 really do. And yeah, just trust the process, trust the Lord. Excuse me. And you know what God's told you. Like, you know what he said. And it's going to come to pass. Like, it's not in our timing ever. It's always in his timing. It took me God's provided places for me to stay. But my permanent home, like, this is my own home. Years later. Gave up my car. I'm still waiting on my car. I know that's coming. And then I'm going to be with the whole, yes, I was married before, but in the Lord's eyes, like that marriage just kind of was void because it wasn't of the Lord. Got through my divorce and here I am waiting on to be restored, but it's going to be a new marriage, if that makes sense. Someone who is going to glorify the Lord, and we're going to glorify God together. Restoration goes so deep, guys. It's so deep. It's not just about, again, I want to reiterate this. This was not just about dogs. It was not just about my dogs. I know I was crying. I was talking about them, but it's in regards to so many different things that we have lost in our lives as walking with the Lord, or even before Jesus, and then we end up giving our lives to the Lord, and just there's a lot of things that we have to give up to walk with the Lord. And we have lost some things. I've lost not just physical things, but I'm sure I've lost so much in me that the Lord still has to restore. And he's just like, there's this book that's literally sitting over there, which I've read before. But you know how when you get a book and you read it, but at that time, it's just not your season to read it. And then you have that season that's coming around. And now it's like, okay, God's like, okay, now you read it. I read it, I think a year ago, and it was good. It was good. But for some reason, that book right there that's sitting over there with my Bibles and everything is like looking at me. And it's called, the only word that I can see from right here is healing. So it's about healing, and it's about different testimonies that people have had with the Lord restoring. Come on, God, with restoring their relationships, or restoring their health, or restoring whatever it is that they lost. And he's just basically telling me to read that book now. Now is the time to read it. It's going to speak to me. So praise God. But I love you guys, and I pray this made sense. I really, really do. Because sometimes I feel like I'm not making sense. But I got to get ready. And we look at the forecast. And I need to drink my water. Y'all, please. My coffee is still sitting right here. I'm going to have to throw it out. It's not good anymore. I didn't finish it. When I make it out of my big mugs, I don't finish it. But yeah. I love you guys. God loves y'all so much more. I'll talk to you guys later.